Welcome to the Daily Videcasting. We are diving headfirst into a feed today that is just buzzing with maximum technical and financial tension.
Absolutely.
We're seeing these incredible records being broken in space, massive capital flowing into AI infrastructure, and frankly, a huge reality check for some white-collar careers.
That's exactly it. The range of sources we've pulled today, it moves seamlessly from the almost philosophical talking about the human cost of that projected $1 trillion in AI capex right down to the very measurable, immediate cost of simple software mistakes.
Yeah.
We are exploring the most fascinating posts trending across the X feed today, October 25, 2025.
And our mission here is simple. Give you the ultimate shortcut to being plugged into this crucial info. So let's unpack this stack and roll right into some, well, record-breaking rocket science.
Let's do it.
Okay, we start with a comparison that really truly shows how quickly aerospace economics can change. Post 14 comes from @Elon Musk. As it pointed out below, the SpaceX Falcon rocket will do more launches and carry more payload to orbit this year than the Space Shuttle did in its entire history.
Wow. I mean, what's fascinating here is just understanding the sheer magnitude of that statement, right?
Right.
The shuttle flew 135 total missions over 30 years. SpaceX is on track for, 175 to 180 flights this year?
This year alone, it's incredible.
That kind of cadence is only possible because they nailed reusability. That's a principle. The shuttle, well, it never fully realized, did it?
And it's the cost difference that's the real game changer, isn't it? We're looking at a Falcon 9 launch clocking in around, $67 million?
Yeah, roughly. Compare that to the shuttle's cost per mission. Adjusted for inflation, you're talking somewhere around $450 million per launch.
Oof.
So this high volume, low cost,
Yeah.
that's what's driving global space access now.
And we know where a lot of that access is going, right? Starlink.
Oh, yeah. Starlink's currently accounting for an estimated 90% of the entire global payload mass launched into orbit in 2025. 90%.
That's staggering.
But, whenever you celebrate progress like this, you inevitably get the counter-narrative. And often, it's a painful one.
And post 820 from @Bsoul delivers that counter-narrative with brutal clarity, he says.
Uh-oh.
Unpopular opinion. The Space Shuttle was a uniquely terrible vehicle. We built 40% were destroyed in accidents that killed everyone on board. In fact, 73% of all spaceflight deaths were caused by the shuttle.
Yeah. Look, while that assessment is, harsh, the numbers are unfortunately accurate. 14 of the 19 total spaceflight fatalities were caused by Challenger and Columbia.
Right.
Skoll's argument really centers on the compromises baked into the shuttle's original design, especially, the inclusion of those non-abortable solid boosters. That was something required to satisfy conflicting demands from NASA and the DoD back in the day.
And that's where the nuance really matters, right?
Yeah.
It feels too simplistic to just judge the shuttle purely on fatalities without considering the unique political pressures of its time. I mean, it did successfully build the International Space Station. That's an unparalleled achievement. You can't deny that.
Absolutely. It was an incredible engineering feat for its time. But the economic and safety reality highlighted by the Falcon's cadence now, well, it's just unavoidable.
It really is. The contrast is stark.
Yeah, it's that tension, isn't it, between historical necessity and, current efficiency. And speaking of efficiency, the greatest efficiency lesson of the day might just involve saving a small fortune with a tiny fix.
Oh, this is the story every engineer needs to print out and, frame on their desk. Post 3 from @BrankaPetrick100 details this near disaster in infrastructure spending.
Right.
Developers kept complaining our RDS instance was too slow. Wanted to upgrade from db.t3.large to db.5.8x large, cost increase. $140 month to $3,400 month. I checked query performance first. Query ran 47,000 times per hour. No indexes on the where clause columns missing.
Just think about that proposal for a second. Moving from a pretty reasonable $140 a month to a, frankly, staggering $3,400 a month.
That's insane.
That developer was ready to drop nearly $40,000 annually on hardware, thinking they had an infrastructure bottleneck.
Okay.
But the real problem, a missing composite index.
Okay, so for listeners maybe not knee-deep in database admin stuff, what exactly does adding a composite index do, and why is that such a, common oversight?
Right, so think of a database index like the alphabetized index at the back of a textbook. If you need to find a specific term, let's say all users in New York City, you can either scan every single page of the book.
Which takes forever.
Exactly. That's what an unindexed database query does. Or you can go straight to the index, find New York City, and it points you immediately to the right pages. much faster.
Makes sense.
So Branko found this query running 47,000 times an hour that was basically reading the entire book every single time, leading to an 890 millisecond delay every single time.
And the fix. 15 minutes, you said. Drop the response time to 12 milliseconds.
Exactly. That quick code optimization saved $39,000 a year in completely unnecessary hardware spending. It's a perfect illustration of this systemic issue, you know?
Yeah.
It's often easier or feels faster for maybe a junior dev to just file a ticket to scale up the hardware
Yeah, kick the can down the road.
than it is to actually dig into the query optimizer and fix the underlying, sometimes complex code inefficiency. So the lesson is, always check your code before you scale your cloud instance.
That is the ultimate cautionary tale for the cloud era, definitely. Okay, now let's talk about scaling on a much, much larger level. AI money, and whether it's actually money well spent right now.
Yeah, this is the big one. Post 2324 from Boko Capital pretty much sums up the skepticism around AI investment perfectly. The post just quotes,
Uh-huh.
$10 in capex for this BW.
And this he's referencing is a screenshot, right, where ChatGPT is asked to parse a simple CSV file. It fails, apologizes, and then immediately just makes up the data to fulfill the request anyway. We're talking about potentially $1 trillion in cumulative AI capital expenditure projected by 2030, and the large language model still struggles with, like, basic data integrity.
Look, this is more than just a funny little anecdote. It really highlights the core design risk of current LLMs, right? They're absolutely brilliant at language, generating plausible-sounding text.
For sure.
But when they hit a wall, a logical failure, a data integrity issue, they often just stop and say, I can't do this.
Yeah.
They hallucinate. They confabulate.
They behave like that arrogant intern we've all met who prioritizes having an answer, any answer, over having the right answer.
Precisely. And that behavior, well, it seriously undermines the justification for the massive infrastructure investment we're seeing.
And that risk tolerance gets pretty extreme when you plug AI into the financial markets. Look at post 14 from @SidProPoo. He references an AI trading experiment with the caption,
Oh, I saw this one.
human-level intelligence achieved.
Yeah, that's a joke, of course. It's referencing the AI that lost, 42 out of 44 crypto futures trades, burned through $7,200 of a $10,000 starting pot in just a week.
Unbelievable.
And the irony, it didn't lose just because of random noise. It lost because it apparently adopted classic behavioral finance biases, like holding losing positions way too long, suffering from loss aversion.
So the AI literally learned the worst habits of the average retail trader. That's a very, very expensive lesson in human-level intelligence.
Exactly. It probably reflects the training data, right?
Right.
Which likely included a lot of human trading sentiment and behavior patterns. But, and this is crucial, to show the massive divergence in AI capability and risk appetite, you have to look at the counterexample. Alibaba's Qwen 3 Max model.
Okay, what did that one do?
That model went hyper-aggressive, took a 20x leveraged long position on Bitcoin at $107,900.
Oh, 20x leverage. That's aggressive.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
But it generated over $6,500 in unrealized gains, apparently rocketing it to the top of its crypto trading competition leaderboard. So you've got this spectrum. AI mimicking human fear and failure on one end,
Yeah.
and AI adopting extreme, almost reckless high-stakes risk tolerance on the other. It's wild.
And to fuel that kind of aggression, that kind of massive infrastructure build-out, you need talent. Lots of it. Post 2115 from @BPAR91 shows exactly where some of that talent is being sourced from.
Right, the talent pipeline.
OpenAI has imported approximately 630 former Meta employees, representing about 20% of its roughly 3,000 staff, according to LinkedIn data, analyzed by The Information, with OpenAI Slack having a channel just for former Meta employees.
A fifth of OpenAI staff are Meta alumni. That's not an accent, that's a targeted talent strategy.
And why Meta?
Let me guess. Advertising.
Scale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Meta specializes in running massive consumer-facing models at scale and, crucially, monetizing them effectively through advertising.
And that connects directly to the monetization strategy Sam Altman is now openly exploring, right? Shifting away from viewing ads as some kind of last resort and actively exploring ways to run ads in ChatGPT, maybe even based on user memory data.
Precisely. They need that meta DNA, that expertise, to transition from being primarily a research lab to becoming a massive production engine.
And that engine needs fuel. Serious fuel. Post 22 from @ChaseLockmiller really shows the infrastructure boom happening underneath all this.
Yeah, the physical layer.
I'm excited to announce that at Crusoe AI has closed our Series E round of financing, valuing the company at $10.04 to help us build the infrastructure of intelligence.
A massive $10.4 billion valuation for Crusoe AI. And remember, this is the company that famously pivoted from Bitcoin mining
Right, they saw where the wind was blowing.
to focusing purely on building AI data centers. They're essentially constructing the physical backbone of the AI race, backed by this staggering 45-gigawatt power pipeline they've secured.
45 gigawatts.
Yeah. It shows the limiting factor in AI growth isn't just better algorithms or more talent. It's the sheer availability of energy-efficient compute infrastructure. If you don't have the physical power to train and run these enormous models, you simply lose the race.
And that relentless need for efficiency and automation driven by all this infrastructure and talent? Well, it's translating directly into corporate strategy, and it's frankly a terrifying trend for the traditional financial career pipeline.
This is where you see the explicit link between AI capability and, well, career erosion. Post 611 from @BoringBiz states the stark reality quite plainly.
Yeah, this one caught my eye.
Breaking. JPMorgan is considering cutting junior investment banking roles and outsourcing them to India.
So JPMorgan is looking to slash the junior to manager ratio from, 6.1 down to 4.1. That's already significant. But the really chilling part is relocating half of the remaining junior roles to low-cost centers like India and Argentina.
Yeah.
You're potentially talking about a two-thirds reduction in those classic entry-level Wall Street or City of London jobs.
And this is presented as a direct consequence of AI efficiencies. Internal LLM tests have apparently shown they can automate a lot of the traditional junior banker grunt work, the financial modeling, the presentation formatting, the preliminary due diligence.
Stuff you spend years learning.
Exactly. The goal is clear: short-term cost cutting and efficiency gains.
But wait a minute. If you automate or outsource all that grunt work and cut the bottom rungs of the ladder, how do you actually train the future senior deal makers, the future MDs and partners? Isn't this a classic case of short-term gain creating a massive long-term pipeline problem for high finance?
That is the absolute central anxiety here. The traditional apprenticeship model in investment banking, love it or hate it, required juniors to grind through those mind-numbing tasks for years to build institutional knowledge, resilience, pattern recognition.
Right.
By automating or offshoring that foundational work, you absolutely risk eroding the very skills necessary for future leadership. It fundamentally changes the entry point, maybe even the nature, of that entire industry.
Wow. That perfectly, almost grimly, sets up our next post. It's a powerful mantra for management, especially in this era of ruthless trade-offs. Post 13 from @capex.
Ah, yes. This one resonates.
As I always tell my team, prioritization isn't real until it hurts.
That phrase just echoes the philosophy of Steve Jobs, doesn't it? He famously forced Apple to ruthlessly slash its list of top priorities from 10 down to just 3, because prioritization isn't really about deciding what you want to do.
It's about deciding what you won't do.
Exactly. It's about making painful cuts.
And the hurt comes from making those necessary trade-offs, often cutting projects, maybe even people, as we see JPM considering before you get too emotionally attached. It's the difference, as Peter Drucker might say, between efficiently doing low-value tasks versus focusing exclusively on high-value strategy.
Well said. And speaking of high-value strategy, let's shift gears slightly and look at the lobbying game down in D.C., where Brian Armstrong is trying to enforce a different kind of clarity.
Right. Post 1618 from @Brian Armstrong, the Coinbase CEO, shows the hustle. I met with 25 senators in the last 2 days, working to get market structure clarity done. I'm glad to report the urgency and momentum is high.
So he's pushing hard for the Bipartisan Clarity Act. And this isn't just about some vague call for clear rules. This specific act has a dual purpose, setting clear market structure rules for digital assets, yes, but also ensuring robust consumer protections are built in.
And he's pushing this even with a government shutdown looming or happening. That shows urgency.
Exactly. It highlights how critical the industry sees this regulatory framework being. And you got to appreciate the marketing gimmick.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
He apparently used a branded van driving around Capitol Hill distributing, wait for it, Claritia.
Claritia, seriously? Like iced tea.
Unsweetened green tea, apparently. As a campaign pun to lobby for the Clarity Act. If you can't clarify policy immediately, at least clarify the beverage, right?
Okay, that's certainly a memorable approach. All right, let's pivot to some platform updates and a few cultural vibe checks from the feed. X continues to tweak its user experience. Post 25 from @X itself, just an image with the text, "What's happening?"
Right. This was the announcement of their new iOS link feature. So now when you tap an external link in the app, the original post collapses neatly into a little bar at the bottom of the screen instead of just vanishing or being completely obscured.
Okay, that's actually a pretty genius UX move, isn't it? For ages, link posts tended to get lower reach, partly because the path to liking or replying was hidden once you clicked away to the article.
Exactly.
This new feature keeps those engagement buttons like reply, repost visible while you're reading the linked content. That should, theoretically, make it much easier for users to engage with the original post, which could drastically improve reach for creators who share external links. Big win for usability.
Definitely a smart tweak. Now, on the security front, there's a crucial deadline everyone needs to be aware of. Post 27 from Ad Safety lays it out.
Okay, important one here.
By November 10th, we're asking all accounts that use a security key as their two-factor authentication, 2FA method, to re-enroll their key to continue accessing X. You can re-enroll your existing security key or enroll a new one.
Right, that's a hard deadline. November 10th, 2025. And this is specifically targeting physical FIDO or U2F keys, right? Like a YubiKey or similar hardware token.
Correct. Not authenticator apps or SMS codes, just the physical keys. Why the sudden re-enrollment mandate? Well, it's likely driven by a security protocol update on X's backend, aiming to enhance protection.
Makes sense.
Remember, physical FIDO keys are still considered the gold standard for 2FA because they reduce the risk of successful phishing attacks by over 99% compared to just using SMS codes or even authenticator apps. So if you're one of those users relying on a physical key, maybe you're a high-profile account. Mark your calendar, November 10th. Or you risk getting locked out till you re-enroll.
Good PSA. All right, shifting to culture now, let's talk viral satire. Post 30 from @Judy'sViewed shared their Amazon shopping cart with a simple caption.
Oh, I saw this one. It was brilliant.
Halloween outfit secured. And the image. An Amazon cart containing a high-visibility construction vest, a black balaclava, and a rhinestone tiara.
That is just perfect, timely social commentary, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That combination of items is such a clever, instant nod to the recent audacious Louvre heist.
Right. Where the thieves disguised themselves as construction workers to swipe, what was it, 88 million worth of French crown jewels?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just perfectly captures that rapid intersection of major current events, media spectacle, and, well, fast fashion reacting in real time. Hilarious and sharp.
And from high-stakes theft satire to more mundane tech frustration, Post 7 from @Dariusdan shows a screen recording. The user just drags the Google Chrome browser icon straight into the trash bin on their Mac. The caption.
Yeah, that resonated.
I had enough.
That video went instantly viral because it taps into this genuine, deep-seated functional frustration that so many developers, designers, and frankly, regular users feel about Chrome.
The resource hog reputation.
Absolutely. Studies consistently show Chrome consuming something like 1.5 times more RAM than competitors like Firefox or Safari. So this isn't just a joke, it's a visual protest. It reflects this growing de-Googling trend among people just fed up with excessive resource consumption and perceived bloatware.
Yeah, you feel that pain sometimes. Okay, finally, let's wrap up the feed today with a perfect little dose of sportsman generosity. Post 17 from @TheKidMcManus, the NFL kicker.
McManus.
Class act.
Tell him to send it to Lambeau, and I will sign it and send back to him, along with 2 tickets to any game he wants. 1265 Lombardi Ave, Green Bay, WI 54304.
Yeah, that was Green Bay Packers kicker Brandon McManus responding directly to some online skeptic who was questioning why anyone would want a kicker's jersey.
Right, instead of arguing or getting defensive.
He just shut it down with pure class, offered a personalized signed jersey and 2 tickets to any Packers home game. It's just fantastic fan engagement and honestly a pretty great way to counter internet negativity with genuine generosity. Good on him.
Absolutely. Okay, that really covers the full spectrum of today's feed, doesn't it? We started with the sheer mind-bending efficiency of the Falcon 9. We saw how you can save $39,000 just by remembering a basic database index. And we explored the brutal efficiencies potentially driving those JPM junior banker cuts. Looking across this whole stack, what's the single overarching lesson you think we should take away from this specific blend of news today?
I think it's the constant high-stakes trade-off that we keep seeing between technical progress and human consequence.
Right.
We celebrate the $10.4 billion infrastructure investment for AI, the incredible advances in space launch capability, but the immediate conversation always seems to pivot right back to the human friction points.
Yeah.
Whether that's the potential erosion of established career paths, the inherent risk of AI hallucinating critical data, or just the raw pressure to prioritize until it genuinely hurts someone or something. It feels like technical mastery is advancing faster than our collective capacity to really manage its societal impacts thoughtfully.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to navigate this constantly shifting landscape? Let's leave you with maybe a provocative thought that connects back to the very nature of some of these platforms and technologies. Henry McNamara's critique, which was post 12 in the feed today, touched on the increasing gamification of society. He specifically cited that sports betting app Cheddar, which apparently targets users under 21.
Right.
So the question is, if we keep using technology, whether it's hyperfast trading AI or complex offshore outsourcing models or addictive social apps to essentially reduce everything from finance to social interaction, maybe even career progression, into a kind of zero-sum gamified system that's driven purely by short-term metrics and engagement, what are we potentially sacrificing? What about long-term social cohesion or ethical stability or just, deeper human values?
That really is the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? Are we building all this incredible infrastructure for genuine shared progress, or are we just getting better and better at optimizing the game itself, maybe for the benefit of a few?
Something to think about. That's a deep dive for you to start on your own. We'll catch you next time on the Daily Vibecasting.